host. This is your responsibility.
All right.
All right. So, well, let's get Roger. We got Damian. Damian, what's up, brother? Sorry, I didn't say what's up to you.
Oh,
Hey,
you're
what's
muted.
going on, man?
How are you?
Good. How about you guys?
Oof.
You look tired today, Damian.
I don't know. I've been working away, you know. I might need a vacation soon, like you
You've
guys.
been
So
busting your hump. Love
yeah, yeah.
We'll get you. Well, let's get you fired up because I know you have some value bombs to add to these topics. I mean, you know, we did. I think we screwed up because we kind of had the same topic in one because last week we talked about we got a couple options for topics, and I know we last week we said we were going to possibly talk about building authentic relationships with which I think is super important in business and in life. So I think that's a fantastic topic. And then I also think one of the other topics is the time management strategies to build more freedom. I feel like every time I talk about time management, I realize how bad I am at it, and I realize how many tips and tricks and whatever. And I got a couple good things that I've been experimenting with on that. And I think alongside that is just designing a successful agent schedule. So I think there's kind of two of them in there. I think time management and designing a schedule is one topic, and then building authentic relationships is another topic. And I think we can just start with one. And so I'm open to which one is really resonating with people. What are people like? What are people vibing on?
Well, I would say I think the time management calendar thing isn't going to take a full hour. So maybe we hit that first and then we move into building good, valuable relationships.
Well, knowing this group, I feel like we could talk about flowers for an hour, possibly.
Joey, I'm out.
You're out. You're out, bro.
I'm out.
Okay, well, let's talk about, let's see where it rolls. Unless anybody is totally like, no, I want to build authentic relationships, which we can maybe get to. But let's talk about time management stuff, because I do think that that's such a huge part in our lives, in our relationships. So I'm curious, what do people think? What do people think about time management, and does controlling your time, or does time control you? Or I don't know, let's just open it up. What do people think about time management, and how are they feeling about their own time management?
I think
Hey, Joey, real quick, just before we hop into this, I did put that link for Viet's Glover U in the chat if people
Sweet.
need. So
Yep. And real quick, and if I miss calling you out, I think everybody's okay with me calling them out, because I feel like I've called everybody out on this, like Connie and Linda. I've called you guys out before. So if you're not okay with that, just like secretively send me the middle finger emoji. But
is there one?
I think there is one.
Mhm.
But if but raise your hand too if you do have something, or I'll try to see when someone like unmutes or whatever wants to say something. But I just like getting some engagement here. So if anybody's has anything on this, please raise your hand and we'll get to you. So anyways, Kelly, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and I'm gonna call out Damien because I've been to, a couple of his stuff or his trainings as well. We're already getting busier, right? So the busier we get, the harder this time management thing is going to be. But Damien has a great, you build a great calendar and really, live by that. So maybe you can share like how you set your day up and like being true to that calendar.
Yeah, no, I appreciate Kelly. I mean, it's simple. It's just like you just gotta follow it. I mean, the one thing that stays consistent every time, and that's 8 to 10. That's my lead gen time. I don't put appointments during that time. It's just I know I'm gonna make my calls. I'm gonna make my follow-ups. And if I don't have any appointments, if I got that done, like that's like that's what really moves the needle forward for getting more business and keeping current business. And then, but lately I've just been pretty consistent as well. I think that made a change maybe a year ago for this. I started kind of being up by 4:45. And at 5, I'm kind of, starting doing like, reading the Bible, but then I have extra probably hour and a half before I have to drop Milan off at school to just get ready for the day. So that's where I'm like, looking who do I need to call, who do I need to follow up, but then also creating emails, creating like editing social media, whatever it is. And then when I get my calls, you know, get to that 8 o'clock and I'm done, I'm kind of done for the day because I did the earlier stuff to prep. And that's been like game changer where the rest of the day I'm just chilling. Like then I go work out, I get lunch, I'm not rushing through. And again, if I don't have appointments, I'll come home and I'll still work. I'll make more calls, work on the business, whatever it is. And then I'm pretty much done by 4, and then I'm spending time with family. I don't really work after 4, after 5, unless I really have to do some appointments. And of course, if I have appointments, they're typically after 10 o'clock, and I've been pretty good lining them up, so I'm not showing houses in the evening or but yeah, I think it's just again create. And then some other weekends, you know, on Thursdays, that's where I give sellers like updates on their, if I have multiple listings at a time. So like I have a little slot for that. So you just kind of got to look as what is it, what do you do every day, and you know, and you know, what can you do consistent, right? And build that out. But I think it definitely, I think helps. And I know some people don't like waking up early, but it's been a game changer to just like really not feel rushed through the rest of the day. So
Now, I'm not a morning person, Damien, so I am the opposite. Like I would rather stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning because it's quiet time and I can get my stuff done. So I would just tap into that and say, whatever works for you, get it on your calendar, because you guys know you've had those days where you're like, I'll get to that later, and then something comes up and something comes up, and then you're thrown into the next day and you're thrown in the next day, and it just screws up your whole calendar or your time management, right? So if you can time block for those important activities, I mean, we have to treat this like it's a job. I hate to say it, right? This is our job. So if you worked anywhere else, you've got to go show up at your job. And if you didn't, they'd be like, hey, what the heck's going on? Or you aren't going to have that job very long, right? So treat this like a job, whether it's the first 3 hours of the day or 2 hours of the day or the last 2 or 3 hours of the day. Do those activities that you have to do. And if you can win that 2 to 3 hour every single day to do those things you need, you're going to win the day in terms of being able to then have a lot more freedom to do the other things.
You know, I love this topic when we're talking about this. And one thing that I've, meaning kind of the win the day thing of getting those first couple important things out of the way, I've really waffled back and forth on what my number one important thing is. And Damien, the prospecting has been such a big part of my career and life for a long time. And one of the things I've recently, probably in the last like 6 months, I don't want to say change because I feel like I always try to get prospecting in, but I noticed that my number one thing, and it sounds like you agree to this too, because if you're, or if you're an early riser, or even Kelly, if you're going to bed late, is I noticed that I need to make my number one thing me in every day. And it's my meditations, my journaling, my reading, my exercising. Like I feel like those are actually, we hear in real estate or in business like your non-negotiables. And at first I used to sacrifice and get prospecting in at all costs. And sometimes every once in a while, depending upon my schedule, I would let my health go. And I realized that wasn't good for me. I say for me because this doesn't have to be for everybody. But when number one, I remember, I don't know if you guys know this guy, Adam Hergenrother. We were partnered with him years ago at Keller Williams, and he coached us and kind of mentored us. And he wrote this blog once titled "Why I'm Selfish." And when you read about why he's selfish, it's all about when number one is good, everything else falls in place, like kind of almost sequentially like dominoes. So he says when number one, health, spirituality, mentality is 100% sound, everything else just becomes a lot easier. And I've sacrificed business in the past, meaning sacrificed my health and well-being for business, and I regretted it. So I'm curious, has anybody else done that? Am I the only one who's sacrificed health for business? What do you guys think about that regarding time management? Is that a problem that some of us have?
Yeah, I'll chime in.
I see you, Cheryl. Bruce, go ahead.
So in the last probably 3 or 4 months, just because of the fact that last year Kelly and I had both of our knees replaced, we needed to get back into shape, right? We need to get back into the gym. And
We're working
so
on it.
I've actually put that ahead, like Joey has, ahead of my business, just because that is my business. And I believe in the Adam Hergenrother's philosophy that, you know, if you're not good, I don't care how much business you have to do, you're not going to be good, right? So I just need to feel better so that I'm not thinking about that when I'm working.
Yeah, I love that. Nope, I love that. And I don't know if you guys have heard this term, health is the new wealth. Health and wealth. How cool is it that those things, that those two words happen to rhyme? It's just like awesome. Cheryl, go ahead. You did the.
Yeah, I was one of those people who stayed up late. I raised 4 kids and would stay up late and work after after the house got quiet at night. And I had a client who had the most amazing arms, and I was pushing 50 at that time. And I was like, I have to like get back to working out. I need this. And she's a health coach. And she kept saying, come and join us at 5:30 in the morning. And they work out outdoors. So something that I've always believed in is getting outside. It just changes your energy so much to no matter what time of the year it is to go outside. So I said 5:30 in the morning, no way. I just quit working at 3. I can't be there at 5. And she said, you have to shift and I'll help you. So I started going to bed at 10:30. I usually make it into bed by 5 after 11, but I head for bed by 10:30 at night, quit working at 10 o'clock. And I've been getting up at 5:30 now for 12 years. And it has changed my life. And strength, physically fit and mentally fit. And we work out outside as much as we can. And it's translated into my marriage. My husband now joins me in the morning on days that I'm not working out there. We either walk or bike or run or do something together. Snowshoed last week. Watch the sunrise. It's great. It shifts everything to take that time. And the phone doesn't ring from 5:30 until 7:30. So you're not really interrupted by anything. It's a great time to be up and have a reset, have coffee, get your mind and a body in order so that this job is tough. We have a lot of stress and we might have to move somebody's sofa. So we have to stay strong.
Okay, first of all, that's amazing because you're right. We have to have our back strong because I think every real estate agent has moved one of their clients something at some point. So thank you for sharing that, Cheryl. You just said something when the phone rings. I want to just your phone doesn't ring early in the morning. I recently, about a month ago, I got a bat phone where I got a whole different phone. And so now when I'm done working, when I choose to start working and when I'm done working, I plug in my phone that most people, they have the number. I think my bat phone, I think only like 20 people have the number, and it's the greatest thing. So I can plug my work phone in and then I can go live my life and still have like technology, like GPS and shit. And I don't have my phone ringing, or like I take Sundays off. I did it for years and then I stopped and now I'm back doing it because now I have a bat phone. And so it's like, yeah, now I can just go like yesterday, I didn't know what was going on work wise. And who cares? And I'm curious what you guys think about that, because do we worry about prospecting and like losing leads and gaining business and stuff like that with time management? What are things that you guys are doing that we know we're wasting time? Like what's our time wasters? Like what's our top couple time wasters? We all have them. What are the things that are literally consume your guys' like, why am I doing this? Bruce, yeah, exactly. I did recently about a month or two ago, took all social media off my phone, and I'm just like, thank God, why did I not do this sooner? But the phone is a time waster. What else? What's getting in the way of your time management? Damien, you sound very regimented, but you are also human and have time wasters, or Cheryl or Linda, Connie.
The
What
phone's
are
the worst. I mean, what my wife and I have been just talking about it, how to, and I know that, like, I even just posted it, like, I just noticed the scrolling, the feeling of missing out, what other people are doing, agents, whatever, but just in general, like the scrolling on Instagram, social media, like, dude, it's so bad. I went for a week, I think last month, completely let it go, which was amazing, and it was hard, you know, but I know how much mentally it just gives you anxiety that you don't even think about. I think like our society as a whole, I think is effed just based on that. Like the more, like if I'm noticing, and I have pretty good discernment to notice when I'm slipping or something like that. There's a lot of people who are like zombies at this point, and that's what like makes me nervous with kids and everything else, raising them. Like I gotta set the example, and me and my wife keep talking about. My wife comes at me sometimes. She's like, you know, get off your, and it's hard, especially with our business. You kind of check in the phone, see if anything. But I think it's, you have to, like, just like anything else, you have to be um, hard on yourself as far as putting the like the standards. Hey, I'm not gonna go above this, and we're not perfect. I know, but if you're like, hey, during the lead gen, I'm not going on social media, or when I'm at home, and that's something I'm trying to work on. When I'm at home after 5, just phone away. I don't need to be scrolling. I gotta be present. But that, I think, probably the biggest thing. I feel like outside of that, I don't really have distractions. I'm not going out. I'm not partying. I'm not doing stuff like that. But the phone, it's crazy. It's crazy just how bad it is. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Kelly, go ahead.
I used to work in an office setting, and we work from home now, but I would say for those of you who do work in an office setting, one of the biggest time wasters for me, and this is going to sound bad, so I don't mean it in a bad way, but you know, someone would stop in your office and say, "Hey, you got 5 minutes?" And you'd be like, "Okie doke." And 45 minutes later, you know, they're leaving and then someone else is coming in. And so just being very protective of your time again, right? So if you are in an office or you are at home and you need to work, being able to shut that door and tell the people who are around you, "Hey, I'm unavailable for the next hour. I'm doing my prospecting, or I'm, you know, getting ready for an appointment," or whatever it is, you know, to be able to, what do they say? Train people how to teach you, or teach people how to
Yes.
treat you, right? Like,
Yep.
so if you're setting those expectations, then people will start to hopefully honor those and help you, you know, stick to your calendar too, so you don't have as
Yeah.
much time wasted.
I think that's huge. I loved how you're like, I don't mean to sound bad, but it's human beings that are the biggest time waster. But because they really can. And it's like, I almost think of when someone says, "Hey, do you got 5 minutes?" I almost want to be like, lies. Nothing has ever happened in 5 minutes ever.
And you want to help. Like, I'm
Right.
all about, I want to help, but it does. It like sucks the time away. And then you're like, man, where did 2 hours go and I didn't get anything done, right? So
and
Yeah.
same thing with clients, guys. Like that's something I've been very like, you know, there's those time waster clients, and sometimes it's just like, hey, respectfully, I just been saying, hey, I gotta run, I got an appointment, I'm just ending calls. So if I know it's like, there are people who just love to talk, and that's where when I'm talking with people, or if people want to meet for no reason that's not going to benefit, it's like you just got to be upfront and firm and say, hey, we're not listing your house till May, we don't need to meet right now. Yeah, and that's kind of why I've been very firm with my time. People respect it if you set proper expectations.
Yeah.
You know,
That's huge. That's huge. And Bruce and I, before the call, we're talking about, I happen to be reading a book called Radical Honesty right now, and it's very good. It's very hard. It's kind of a harder read, because I realized how sometimes I'm not as honest as I could be. And to your point, Damien, that I think is amazing is, so I've had clients recently that said like, "Well, why don't you answer your phone?" It's like, "Because I'm in meetings." I just tell them, "Hey, why don't you work Sundays?" "I don't know, it's family day." Duh. Or like, I mean, meaning, just being honest and saying like, yeah, like you said, Damien, I love that. We're not listing your house till May. Why are we meeting in March? Makes no sense. You don't got to be a jerk. I know I'm sounding like flippant here with this, but I think that's a really big part of it, is honesty. When you're dealing with your time, right? Be honest with people. When do you work? When do you have, what's your hours? Bruce, go ahead.
Hey, I think another big thing on this time management is trying to figure out, because we're all different, right? Trying to figure out what's gonna make you keep your time management, right? for Damien, it's his calendar, right? For me, it's my calendar. I know that there are people out there that, you know, we tell them, you know what, you got to calendar it and you got to keep it sacred, right? But they put the stuff on their calendar and they don't do it, right? So you have to be able to find what works for you to be able to do that time blocking and the time management and you know, whether that's a calendar, whether that's, I don't know, an alarm on your phone, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever works for you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that's what I think is so interesting about time management, is that it's not, I think sometimes when I go to like classes and things and they say, here's the time management thing that you got to do. No, I mean, if that's what you want to do, it's going to be different for everyone. You know, Wyatt, I know you're a newer father. I'm just going to pull you in because let's see, I don't know if you're, if he doesn't go off mute, we'll see or not. But Wyatt, are you on? Yes, he is.
Yeah, I am. Yep.
How has time management been being a newer father?
It doesn't exist. Time management is a lie.
Okay,
It's just
talk
like, it's
more.
just funny because we have two littles. We have a 3 and we have a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old. And like it's so difficult because like random things can totally shift the calendar as well. Where it's like, hey, I know when my prospecting is, but like all of a sudden the kids are sick and I'm home with a kid for a day, or daycare's not open, or what have you. So there's a million ways I've had to just figure out how to pivot. So really what I've been doing is like, and going back to kind of just whatever works for everybody, is like, if that gets in the way, like I find the time when it's going to work. Like, oh, if I have the kids home for the day, like I'm going to work in the 12 to 3 window where they hopefully nap, and like hopefully is a keyword there too. But yeah, so it's definitely trying to just, I try to checklist and make sure I'm getting the things I know I need to get done. But it definitely is a little bit more flying by the seat of my pants than I wish. But that's okay.
Well, first of all, I love that, dude. And there's, I think what that is pointing out is sometimes with life, there's an element of surrender, right? Like
Yeah.
your kids get sick and it's like, well, everything I thought that I had planned is no longer a thing, right? So
Yeah.
you're just talking about rolling with the punches a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing too is like a lot of times too, it's like I know what I need to get done as far as prospecting and what that looks like. But like sometimes I've been liking getting up earlier. And then sometimes it's like, well, the kids don't sleep and that gets pivoted. So it's really just is like rolling with the punches, knowing what you need to get done and prioritizing it, in my opinion. Because like I'm still gonna have roughly the same amount of time in a given day. I might have to pivot from the schedule or pivot from my calendar, but I can still get a lot of stuff done when I want to or how I want to.
Yeah.
And I think it's just really staying like eye on the prize, what's important, what's actually moving the needle. Like that's what I've really had to do. And like going back to like saying no to meetings and things like that, is there's a lot of things like coffees and whatever and relationships that just like I've maintained, but at a much lower level or lower frequency, just because I know that they're not growing my business, paying my bills, or really like moving the needle forward.
Yeah.
And it is important to have those conversations and know what those things are too, and to be able to say no. So I think you guys hit the nail on the head there.
Well, and first of all, so now that you said that, I don't feel bad that I've screened your calls for the last like 3 weeks. So I apologize, but I don't. Is that okay? Can I say that in here? Is that okay? What?
That's totally fun.
So you're not mad at me? Okay, good. Kelly, real quick, Kelly, I want to get to you, but Damien, I thought of a book that if you guys all have not read, it's called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. He also wrote Deep Work. Fantastic. I just put the link in there. He says use your phone and social media as like a professional would, right? A professional doesn't get sucked in. A professional, like a tool, uses it out, in, out, right? So like that's just one of the tactics. It's one of my favorite books. It's kind of a life book, but it's also talks about, it's fantastic. Has anybody read that, Digital Minimalism? Okay, so good. Both Cal Newport's books, Deep Work and Digital Minimalism. Very, very good. Kelly, what's up?
I love that. I was just going to piggyback on Wyatt's comment, like the whole, we've all heard this. If you have to erase it, then just replace it, right? So just because you can't do it on the time you've got it scheduled doesn't mean you just shouldn't do it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just definitely, think about that. And then I just had a question for anybody. Does anybody use any apps out there or programs out there for time management? I think there's one called like Notion, or I'm sure there's several different ones. And I know there's some agents that have, high success of using stuff like that. I just didn't know if anybody out there uses anything.
I don't use, I personally don't use anything. I just did the new phone thing, and the new phone thing for me has been a game changer, and just getting a new number and just, having that be like my personal life phone. That's just been a changer. I don't know what Notion is. What is that? Do you know what that is, Kelly?
I don't use it. So we did
Oh,
when we were doing our own masterminds, we had someone come on and go through it. And I think it's just, Bruce, do you remember like what it all does for their time
Well,
management?
you can, it's not specifically a time management thing. It's a blank slate that you can build anything. You can build a time management system, you can build an organizational chart, you can build a team, you can build a repository for all your files and folders, and like a CRM or a data management system. I mean, so it does a lot of stuff.
So it
okay.
helps you keep yourself organized so that hopefully your time management is a little bit better. So
Got it. Got it. Anybody else? Anybody use some tech? Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I know there's so many tech tools out there for time management. Is anybody using anything super cool that we should know about?
Hey
Yeah,
Joey,
what's
I
up?
can piggyback.
Oh, go
It's
ahead, Ann.
Ange. And sorry I'm hiding on video today. Anyways, to kind of piggyback on what Damien had said, right? Like he has a system where he's prepped in the morning and he knows who he's calling. So this is kind of an old school system, but I'm gonna throw it in the chat there if I can. Um, Sorry, I can't the second, but it's basically from the core coaching. And I think a lot of agents set up their days, but they don't know who they're going to call in advance. So they have a really nice system for every day who you're actually going to be calling. So especially if you're a newer agent, or maybe you don't have like the leads flowing through, I think to get the most out of your time blocks, it's a good way to know these are the people I'm calling this day, this day, this day, this day, and then staying consistent with it. So I'll throw that in there. It's kind of old school, but I'll put it
I
in the
love
chat for you guys.
Yeah, I love that. And on that point, Viet, I did see that you had unmuted. Just one sec, if you could chime in. But on that point, I sometimes I just use simple stuff like, I noticed today it was my lender's birthday. One of my lenders. I'm gonna call him, right? That's a connection point. Past clients, call them on their birthdays. It's like it's such a good simple lead generation tactic. Viet, did you have a tool? I know you had unmuted on the tech stuff.
Yeah, well, you guys know I'm terrible on the tech stuff, but besides maybe the AI stuff. But I've been, with my kind of schedule, I find out what my optimal time was. And this was a system that I was using pretty much about 10 years ago. When am I the most optimal and when do I really suck? Is typically I drift off right around between like 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's like I feel the most sluggish. That's when I go out to eat. That's when I take a nap. That's when I don't know whenever I took a nap, but between like 8 o'clock to about probably noon is when I know I'm the most optimal. When I feel like the best in my day, that's when I pick up the phone. Okay. My relaxing time and when I do all my follow-ups and everything like that is right between 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning. I set up my whole day for the next day. So, and it's been like this for me for the last 10 years of between 10 and 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm responding to all my emails. I'm responding to, my next day. I'm prepping for my next day of all the phone calls of every single thing in my business. By the time that 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock comes up the next day, I'm already prepared.
Yeah.
So I'm not responding to any emails. Basically, it's just this. It's my phone and the conversations that I'm having with my clients. So
I love that. I mean, no, you're talking about know thyself, right? I mean, know when you are the best. And here's the thing, man. Like, I actually just recently started taking some power naps, and like that's kind of a weird game changer. I'm glad you brought that up. So why wouldn't you take some naps? If you can, re-energize.
No, I think that's key, and everybody's different. Like for me, like by 10:30, I need to be done by 11 if I don't have appointments or I go crazy. So that's when I go to the gym, and it's been working wonderfully because I'll go play some pickleball, I'll work out, and I might be at the gym for 3 hours, and that's my me time. And like you said, you need to stay healthy. I'm not rushing. Yeah, of course we have those days where the whole day is booked and it's wild, but I mean the nice thing is it's most of the time it's not. It's really, you have to kind of and then I come back and I'm okay. I have an extra 2 more hours to just keep finishing the day. Like right now I went through bunch of calls this morning. I still have a few left that I know I can finish up. I don't need to do them now, like, and get through them. So I'm gonna finish up, go through the CRM, finish my to-do list for my seller, which I've been kind of working as we're doing this too, just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's that the break, and for everybody's different. Like Viet's best at this time. For me, I'm 8 to 10. I'm the most energetic. I'm going at it. And that's why when the 11 hits, I need a break. Mentally, I get pissed if I'm still doing something. I know I'm like very quick, very like rough when people, with the responses. So it helps just having that break and be consistent.
Well, next time if you yell at me, I'll just tell you to go play pickleball. But I expect an invite because I love pickleball and I think Viet maybe loves pickleball. I don't know.
I got an idea. Why don't we do for our next in-person thing? We're gonna do pickleball. They have those places. I gotta smoke Viet here. Joey as well. That could be a fun event that we can all. They have those.
Yes. Okay. There's a place. There's a Lucky Shots has a cool place you can rent out.
Yeah. They have like drinks, bar. They got the pickleball. So let's rent it out, and then that will be, I think, fun for like a month, whatever we plan to do in-person mastermind.
Look, Viet's already headed there. Look at he got up. He's like, I'm going there right now.
He's going to practice. He's like, no way, Damien just come in. He's like, shit, I gotta get back.
I love that. Okay, I want to pull in Monica, Jennifer. You guys have been around the block in the biz, time management. I'm curious what your tips and tricks are, if any, or your pains. Like, is this a pain in the butt for you, Monica?
I kind of agree. I think it was Kelly or somebody brought up just working out for me. That's my my release, I get energy from working out. I feel like $1,000,000. So once I get that out of the way, which is pretty much every morning, I'm at the gym by 7:30. I play pickleball at 8. That's when we can start. So I love that idea, Damien, that we get together as a group and do something, do an activity. So, but yeah, I can't say I really follow a schedule. I back against that. So that's never been something for me. But yeah, so I love all these ideas that you guys have, but for me, it's keeping me mentally ready to go. And then Damon, you brought up clients, and the older I get, I'm getting better with telling my clients I run the show, and not to be whatever, but I do. And for so many years, I just dropped everything and ran out the door with my hair on fire, and that is not happening. So just taking more control of my time. So
thank God real estate is finally coming around to that, because I feel like our industry, there's probably, maybe it's commission only, maybe it's entrepreneurship, I don't know. But I think a lot of our industry has been 24/7. And I think there's probably a little bit of it's changing a little bit where people are being like, this doesn't even make any sense. Jennifer, how are you and Bob's time management, does it not exist?
No, it does. We usually hold each other accountable. We kind of compete with each other in a sense, like we both need to carry our weight. And I write a lot of notes. I'm a big note taker, and I write my list like I have right now. And my follow-up boss kind of runs my day too. I use follow-up boss for all my people I have to call. And I always tell my team that you got to have in your mind, when you go to bed at night, you got to say, what did I do? What's a money-making activity that I did today that's going to bring me business? You never can have a day that goes by that you're not doing something to bring you business. So whether And with that, like literally every day I do something that's going to bring me business. So I have to make a certain amount of calls. I have to do CMAs for past clients. There's something that you can do, reaching out, emailing, just doing that consistently is what's making me have listings right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
I
I'm
love
not
that.
a big, I mean, I do look at my calendar, but and I do have things that get into my calendar, and we're hiring an assistant, and she's going to be ride me to be really consistent with things too and help me. But
Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. What do you guys think are as far as agents go? Because I think we all sometimes if we had a lender or something, it might be different. But what do you think an agent's weekly, or it could be daily or weekly? And I have a feeling that everybody's going to have at least one that's all the same. Maybe not though. What are our 3 non-negotiables? And we're just going to say on a work day. On a work day, because I do feel like we should all take a freaking day off where we can actually give ourselves permission. Oh, I have a friend in Nebraska. His name's Tyson Compton. He's with Keller Williams. He just said this to me the other day, and it kind of blew my mind. He said, you know what? He goes, and he's been in business for 10 plus, 12 plus years. I don't know, 15. He said, I was sick of treating every single person I talked to as a real estate lead. And I was like, wait a second, what do you mean? He goes, well, I feel like because in real estate and business, I was walking around feeling like everybody I talked to had to like financially benefit me in some shape or fashion. And I'm like, whoa, dude. Okay. And I was like, I was honest. I was like, I feel like I felt like that in my time, sometimes in my career. And so it dawned on me that I was like, it's good to take a day off, even from like always finding business opportunities. But what I'm curious is, on your working days, what are some examples of like non-negotiables? If you were talking to a brand new agent right now, and I don't know everybody's tenure on here, but if you were talking to a brand new agent, what should be all of our 2 or 3 non-negotiables that should be in our calendar?
I think we all know the answer to that. But it's lead gen, call and follow up, right? And you can break, you can even put it as like 5 new conversations, 5 follow-ups, 5 texts, but I'd say for sure they got and new agents, like you gotta, you gotta be doing more than 2 hours lead gen probably, but lead gen and follow up, right? And then the
And
rest.
a little bit of personal time, right? Like
Social
whether
media
you
would
do
be
what you
good.
do, read the Bible or work out or whatever, whether that's a half an hour or an hour, I think you owe that to yourself every day to just have that quiet your mind and ready yourself for the day or at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. No, but you're right. I mean, I was going to say that's what was probably going to be the same: lead gen or follow-ups or prospecting, personal time. What else? Connie, do you have or Linda, do you guys have a non-negotiable in your own life, in your business life?
Trying to get better at that. Actually, yes, it's just ironic we're talking about this because yesterday just kind of struck me as this like to have a day where, and just a little bit of background, the last year and a half, I've been just dealing with some mental health challenges with a young adult son. So it just has been a lot. But yesterday it struck me like, I don't know when the last time you just kind of, turned off your mind, and whether it was the time change or just a sunny, warm day. But again, just to kind of connect back to, obviously the things you need to do every day and the things you maybe don't have to do every day. But so yeah, and kind of just reaching back to a little bit about what we were talking about prior, even was just the you go, and I think you get in such motions that I will get back to maybe me after I take care of, like Kelly said, somebody needs 5 minutes. Well, it's one more, and by the time part of the day goes by, you're so like wrapped up and in knots about angry at yourself because you took everybody else's one more, and you're like, you're gonna snap if you take on a few more. But definitely non-negotiables, again, I need to get much better about. If you don't take care of you or put you on the calendar or schedule, that, you know, you're not going to be a good you. So again, probably following up with your question, then obviously the lead gen, just a little bit of personal time in there, you know, just making connections, doing things that bring you a little bit of good before you can be a better you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Connie, thank you. Thank you for that. That was
Yeah.
that was a great message. And you know, I think of like, gosh, I don't know if it was a big Gary Keller thing. I think, Ange, maybe you can help. I know you on this. I don't know though. You know, when they would do the yearly planning or something. I don't know where I learned this, but it was always put you in first. You're gonna do your yearly calendar, plan your vacations, plan your personal time, put all that in there first. Because that's like for some reason in entrepreneurship and like commission only, like we're always worried about the money. And of course, it makes sense. But then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I haven't taken a vacation. I haven't taken a personal day. I let all my clients basically run my life. And like now I'm like pissed at the world. Well, it's like, well,
Well, what
yeah.
do we do this for, you guys? Like, we work hard so that we can have the good things for us and our family, right? And if you're always working and you're never enjoying the fruits of your labor, well then what's it all worth, right? So you have to have that work-life balance.
One
And
thing
half
that
the time, oh, go ahead, Damon.
I think everybody's here does pretty good business. I think the best thing that I've done, and this is in the last 3 years, the best thing is I just hired, this is 2 months on, the showing agent. And like I'm talking about like not just showings, like running signs, everything, all that B activities. And it's worth every penny. Like it's not somebody on your team. For those who have teams, I'm talking about you have somebody who literally is gonna go like I every week now I probably have 10 extra hours to work on business and not be going from my house to Maple Grove an hour back and forth and just driving. And then you have the showing like and on top of like this guy's lead generating, he's crushing it. At 20 years old, he's setting appointments. Last week we got like 3, like he directly got people under contract. And like if you find the right person, and it could be a 20, this guy who I brought on, he didn't have any experience besides just how I felt when I walked with him. Like, you know what? I think I'll have fun mentoring this kid. We aligned on some things, and he has zero, like, you know how we have the fears of things. He's just coming in, and I gave him the scripts, and he's just taking off and just going for it. And and it's been super, super cool to see. And but I think for a lot of you guys here, like it's easy to have a team. Think about that showing partner role. And there's multiple ways that you can structure as far as payments. You can have base salary and then commissions on top. You can just have commissions. But I think when we talk about leverage in your schedule, like that, this has been extremely, extremely like best thing I've ever done.
We didn't even talk about leverage. I love how you brought that up because I was out to lunch with, if any of you know Artemisa Boston, she's the one of the number one agents, buyer's agents for sure. And it was funny, we were out to lunch, and speaking of this, Damien, it's so hilarious. We were out to lunch. All of a sudden somebody comes in and her phone was sitting on the table. And all of a sudden somebody walks in the restaurant and just grabs her phone off the table and like walks away. And I thought it was somebody stealing the phone, which would have been weird, but I was like, who is this random person? And I go, what is that? And she goes, oh, don't worry, that's my driver. I said, that's your driver. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I've had a driver for 4 years. I go, what? She goes, yeah. And so when I'm in meetings, my driver also returns emails and texts. I'm like, get out of here, Artemis of Boston. No wonder why you do 100 gajillion deals a year. She doesn't even drive her car. And I thought, oh my gosh, how cool is that? So she pays her assistant, and she's got like 7 showing assistants. Artemisa never shows a home, right? So sometimes you wonder, like, how does she do? You know, I think last year she did like 200 and some deals or whatever. How? Well, that's how, right? So like we didn't even
But
talk
I'm
about
always curious, there's like, how is she getting the business? Like that many people, like you really have to do that many deals. Like I'm always curious. There's another guy, John Soto. I don't know if you know him from Remax. Like dude's blowing up, and I'm like, and I get it. A lot of it's Hispanic community, but I'm like, where, like, to do that much volume, you have to like have so much inflow. And I feel like these guys don't even invest into leads. Like, and I'm always curious how to after they're blowing up so big.
They do. They invest big time into leads.
They
So
do?
Artemisa, I known Artemisa for probably 12 years now. You know, we go on like lunch dates all the time. She's like an older sister of me, right? So, but she invests big time into the Hispanic community, billboards, radio ads, like even commercials and stuff like that too. So she's like a regular household name at this
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Well, it
Right.
looks
So-
like we need to have Artemisa on the mastermind. I'm going to text her after this and be like,
Oh.
"Hey, Damien has a question for you. How do you get all this business? Can you just come on the mastermind and we'll just have that be a topic?" But to the point though, a big part of it was if she's getting all these leads, it's leverage though. I think, Damien, that was really your point of like leverage can be such a game changer, or can be a game changer for time management, because then you're not messing around doing these things. And Kelly, I don't know if you unmuted for a reason, but I'm just going to point to you, and I'm assuming you did.
I was just going to say too, and you don't have to go, balls to the wall here and say, all right, I'm going to leverage out everything. It's going to cost me a mint. And some of us don't have the extra money to do that. It could be as simple as 10 hours a week. Like Damien said, it just frees up a little bit. He's taking some of those, when we look at what we get paid per hour, if we were to take our income and divide that, someone else can be doing these non-income generating activities for us for, $20 an hour, $10 an hour, whatever, get some high school kid, whatever, I don't care. But there definitely are activities you can leverage that aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg, that will free up 10 hours in your day or in your week to get one more deal that week or two more deals that week, right? So
yeah, totally. And we have we just gave we have a VA 20 hours a week, and it's $1,000 a month, right? So $12,000, and we're subbing out all of our social media. They're just going to do all of it. Like just all of it. Just do all of it. Like here's access to all my photos, la, la, la. I don't want to go on there. So Damien, when you talk about scrolling, and we're always talking about getting sucked in, like just don't go on there and just sub it out. If we know we need to do it, to your point, Kelly, like these non-income generating tasks. Oh my gosh, running a sign, right? That's when you said run a sold sign, it's like, I'm not doing that. So at some point at a high level, Artemisa, I think it's hilarious. Artemisa was probably sitting there about 5 years ago and been like, you know what? I'm sick of driving. And she's just like, I'm going to hire a driver. And it's just like, how cool
think
is
about
that?
how much more you can get done.
Oh,
an hour there and back, right? Like someone
She
else
said that. She goes,
I can be more productive.
yeah, she's in the back or in the front just making calls. She's just calling and just doing this and that. And I'm like, she goes, yeah, it's like, it's ridiculous. And she said it so flippantly, and I thought it was like the funniest thing ever. But it was also that's very strategic. It's very smart, And so real quick is that, oh, Cheryl, go ahead.
I don't have this right now, but I had a guy on my team a few years ago who had been a past client. He retired. He was in sales his whole career. He was bored in retirement. He said, I bought a bike. I ride my bike. I read books. I need to be with people. He got his license. He did a few open houses and a few showings, but his big value add to our team was going and dropping off signs. And we used to do brochure boxes. He'd fill brochure boxes, or he'd go to people's houses. And he was that personal touch that he just had the personality for knocking on the door and, hi, how you doing? And he'd come back and he'd say, oh, so-and-so is stressed about this, or they want to know that. And he'd have a whole list for us of all the places that he had been. And he had this simple touch with these people. I need another Jerry. I mean, he was so good at that. I'd 2 days a week have a little list of things for him to do. And he promoted our team and added so much value to the people that he touched every day that you just can't replace a person like that. So yeah, I think I have to look for somebody who's retired from sales.
I love that. I think that's huge. Leveraging out some of that, not only leveraging out some of the I love the fact that you mixed in like having someone drop off signs and brochures and stuff like that, but it's almost like customer service touch too. I think that's so cool, right? Like, oh, I'm dropping off the sign, but I'm gonna knock on the door and be like, hey, I just dropped off the sign. I'm with Cheryl Larson's team.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, and he brought flowers and, stuff like that around to people, or a candle, or we have little things that we do for people. So he would, and when we have tenants, we drop off gift certificates. Like if if we have a house listed that has tenants in it, to keep them cooperative, sometimes we bring them gift certificates to coffee or ice cream or something like that, and he would go and then he would hear their concerns, and it was less phone calls for me. And I think it just added a lot of value.
I think it's huge. I
But he
love
was
that.
a rare person, so finding somebody like him is not, he's not an everyday. He's the kind of person everybody loves to talk to Jerry.
Yeah. No, I love it. Well, all right. We only have a couple minutes left, and I want to just if there's anything that you heard today, and if nothing, well, no, I don't want to say if nothing. Let's do this. What's one thing that we can all commit to, not all of us, and just kind of separately, to help with our time management this week or this month? Is there something? And I know Lisa and Linda, I didn't get a chance to call you out, but I'm kind of calling you out now. But is there anything that somebody heard that it's like, oh, I'm totally going to do this, or I have an idea and I want to do this to help with my time management?
Well, I do time blocking. And that is really effective for me because it's easy to get pulled away. One of the things that this whole conversation reminded me of is that I purposefully put myself in a networking position 3 times a week. And it is with intention, right? Of, hey, I'm here. I want to help you guys grow your businesses. My expectation is that you'll help me. And one of those that I've been working with Bob and Jen with is starting a BNI group where, you're truly coming together to help one another grow business. So those are some of the things that it just brought to mind. I wrote down, I'm like, I need to get back on top of that so that I get that group formed, because I didn't have one that I would fit in.
Love that. And I'm actually being a guest at a BNI on Wednesday for a different business I'm doing. And I'm kind of excited to learn about that. Thanks for sharing that. Good. That's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Linda.
Yes. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a coughing attack. I'm just really utilizing my follow-up boss and setting scheduling who I'm calling, who I'm emailing, who I'm texting, and really trying to stay on top of that more. Making sure I'm doing 5 to 10, calls, texts, emails a day. And I have to set aside that time in the morning. Otherwise, it is too easy to get distracted.
Yeah. Love that. Nope, I love that. I'll put follow-up boss in the chat as well. What about let's go around next couple, or just, we got 2 minutes left. Is there any nuggets? Somebody's like, I'm implementing this because it's so juicy. Cheryl, are you getting a driver? No, not really.
I think that's a great idea.
Yes. What else? What are any nuggets that someone's going to implement? Kelly, Bruce?
Wait till I tell Bryce he's now my driver.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest thing I kind of got hit with over the past few weeks is, so I've built my business. I worked with Joey for about 3.5 years, I want to say. So I was really big into FSBOs, and I kind of had to get this punch in the gut from one of my coaches where it's like, hey, maybe you have to evaluate a whole new way to do and get business, because it hasn't been profitable to do FSBOs lately. So like, I was getting frustrated because I was doing the work, I was clocking in, I was making the calls, doing the follow-ups, and I was like, well, I'm calling the wrong people, I'm wasting my time. They don't even want my help. Like, and I had to try to figure out some new avenues of business where it was bringing me more joy, and I wasn't just punching the, like, I did the work, I did the calls just to say I was doing it. And so that was really big, was just have a really good audit of my own activities of what's actually working, what's actually getting business, and what's actually bringing me joy in this business. Which was huge for me in the last couple of weeks here.
Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing that, dude. And
Yeah.
I know that journey, you've been on with that. So thank you for sharing that. So, well, anything else Anything else? Well, I'll talk about next week's topics. Don't disappear yet. Let me just bring it up. Anything? Kelly? Nothing? Good. Okay. Next week's topics. Please join us next week. I love the interactions. Wyatt, thank you for joining us. Really, dude, I know you got value bombs all over the place, so really appreciate it. I do think talking about building authentic relationships, it should still be on the docket. There's a lot there to unpack. And I don't know, Bruce or whoever said we couldn't talk about time management for an hour. I told you. Well, that was you, Kelly. And so we're going to talk about building authentic relationships. And also, I think this has got to be on the docket, the art of resilience, thriving in a changing market, learning to bounce, not break. Wyatt, I'm assuming you remember the bounce, not break core value.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think having resilience and I think building that is a fantastic topic. I also got on the docket is leveraging personal branding to create magnetic presence. That's on the docket probably in the future as well. So hopefully next week, I'd love to see you guys all. It's been great. And Jennifer, I hope that thing is filled with notes. Take a picture, send it to us. And Viet, we're gonna. Oh, pickleball. Are you guys down for some pickleball in person? Is this a yes?
Yes.
Okay, we're yesing
I'll
this.
come drink.
Yeah,
You'll
can
come-
I be a bench warmer?
Kelly,
Yeah, we'll do that with you, Lisa.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've got
We
knees
love
like
it.
you guys.
We love it, but we still got knee recovery going on. So yeah, we'll drink and
Pickleball is
Never
hard
played,
on the
but I'd
knee.
love to learn.
Okay, good. Well, we'll get this going on the WhatsApp. Viet, your dream will come true. We will all play pickleball together and we'll start practicing. But yeah, we'll get that out soon. Thank you all for coming. Hopefully next week, we'll see you at 10 a.m. and invite people if you think they could add some value or get some value or just learn from each other. So appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here.
awesome.
Great job,
Joey.
Joey.
Thank you.
Good
Have
to
a
see
good
everybody.
week, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
That seemed like a whole lot of goodbyes all at once. Yeah, thank you. Bye, bye, bye. Here we are. Jennifer, are you staying on? She's gone. Hey, thank you. That was
Good
good.
job.
You know, I think we gotta get. Gosh, if we get, I'm not doing the best at getting. I mean, Wyatt was on. That was good. I invited him. I gotta get better at inviting. I'm really bad at it.
You know, I think, well, obviously we all are, right? I mean, Connie's the only one that's been stable and consistent for me. And quite frankly, from a agent attraction standpoint, she almost pulled the trigger and then her son went sideways. She doesn't do hardly any business. She just wanted to change. But you know, and God love her and God help her because she's gone through a lot of crap. But I have not made calls. I've just put out emails to people that I know that have been on here before and nobody shows up. I think here's what we've noticed the last 2 years of our mastermind coming into this time of the year. You're going to lose people.
For sure.
And you're almost not going to get, it's going to be super hard to get people to commit and even to stay on, right? But I think you're obviously gonna have the core people like you and us and Damian and Snyder's and Lisa and whatever, you know, Angela, but it's more, we need it for more than that. Otherwise we're just patting ourselves on the back and, you know, I mean, I hate to say that we can't learn from each other because obviously we can, right? And this gets us fired up, but how many of us take what we hear out of these meetings and start implementing it today, right? If you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I mean, I would like to think we're helping other people. We just have to figure out how other people show up.
Well, and it's interesting because Tina Call, she was on that she was on that second call from what Ange had sent out that I can't,
Yeah.
the downline diaries.
Yeah, with Spring.
Yeah, did you listen to the Tina call one?
I did not. I have the recordings. We were in Costa Rica for the first two, which sucked.
Yep.
I made the last one. So
Well, it was so funny, and I told Ange this. Tina call, of course, she jumps on it and she goes, the first thing she said, she's like, yeah, when I started like really doing agent attraction like 3-4 years ago or whatever, I just started with the mastermind. And I'm like, like the thing is I do think she did it for like 3 years though, right? And I know you and Kelly did it for a while. And I think we just have to, I think if we keep going and we just keep inviting people, because I just personally, you know what, here's the thing. You said it best. Because I personally invited Wyatt and he came on.
Yeah.
Personally. It wasn't an email. It was a personal invite.
right.
And I'm like, all right, if I could invite one a day, if I can invite 7 people in the next week, I almost
Yeah,
guarantee
you don't work Sundays, so 6.
Good point.
There you go. See, that's what I got from today.
Right? But six people, if I could invite 6 people, you're absolutely right. If we all invite 6 people, I almost guarantee at least 1 to 3 would show up.
Yeah, agreed.
And so that was my whole thing with that WhatsApp message, where I was like, all right, if we all invited 6 personally, there's like 15 of us. And that means if 1 showed up, there'd be 30 people on here.
Yeah.
Every time, no matter what.
Agreed.
And then we'd be but so that's the thing. I think that the biggest issue, what we're dealing with this mastermind, is that we got to get not re-buy in. We all got to get re-bought in. I know I'm not doing one. I should personally invite 1 a day, at least. And if we all did that, we'd get some traction. And I know we're not all doing that because I think everybody has admitted that. And so if we're going to keep going, if we all had 1 guest show up, we'd have 30 people.
You know, it doesn't seem hard. It's just the mindset, right? Because you prospect, right? You'll hop on the phone and call people. I don't. Kelly doesn't really. We work off referrals, but Damian prospects. A lot of other of us prospect a lot. There's zero difference between picking up the phone and prospecting and picking up the phone and calling and talking to another real estate agent to get them to a mastermind. Zero.
Totally.
Difference.
100%.
Other than right here, right?
Yep.
Because it's different. You're not prospecting for business. You're prospecting for something that you're either massively ignorant on or massively uncomfortable, which is agent attraction, right?
Totally.
And you don't like to do that. We don't like to do that. And somehow the only way, 2 things. The only way that we're going to do that is to change the mindset.
Yep.
Right. And we can't, it's very obvious from, look at all the people in the room at Viet's place when we first decided to do this, right? Mm-hmm. And nobody is really hardly getting anybody to these because nobody, half or 3/4 of the people in that room aren't plugging in to this. Right. And okay, 100% of us, except for, even Angela, 100% of us are not using this as an agent attraction opportunity, right? We'd like to think we are. We say we are, right, behind the scenes, but we're not utilizing it.
No.
And it comes back to the mindset of agent attraction. It's not nearly as immediate right now as prospecting, right? Yeah. But prospecting, you got to go through 100 to find 1 or 2.
Right.
Okay. Maybe you got to go through 30 agents to find 1 or 2 or 5 to come.
Yeah.
And what's your benefit out of that? I think the problem is we're all focused on the hamster wheel, which is transaction, which is immediate money, which, we work for a little while and we get the money, and then all we gotta do is follow up, right? For the rest of
Totally.
our lives, and if they're
Totally.
interested, they'll contact us, right?
Yep.
The problem is none of us bank for the future. None of us are 20 putting away $100 a week into a savings account that you're not going to touch until you're 60, and then you got $10 million there, right?
Totally.
Who wants
Totally.
$10 million when you're 60? I'm 20. I want that 100 now so I can go out and spend it on booze, right?
Yeah,
Or
I know.
whatever.
I know.
So how do you change that mindset? How do you start looking long term?
Well, I think it's one of those things to where, and by the way, I got to hop on a 11:15 listing call here.
Yeah.
But I do think it's, you know what it is? It's longevity. It's keep doing it, keep talking about it. You got to have some kind of, I think we got to reinvigorate the group a little bit. Maybe that's another in person and say, because again, we were even talking last week, me and Ange, like, where's Viet's team? Like, get him on there, man. Like, just because the more energy and synergy we put around it and commitment we get around it, I don't know the exact answer because I haven't 100% done it. I'm trying, and I want to. That's why I want to even have even these conversations with you help, because it's like, all right, get back on the, keep going, keep talking, keep inviting. They're just good reminders,
Yeah. And the hard thing is, it's not, we look at the success of the mastermind as the success of the group, right?
Right.
And it's great. I look at it, and I don't do a good job, right? But I look at it as we created the mastermind from the group of top producers, right?
Yep.
I have to take individual responsibility to say,
Totally.
you know what, that's going to be a massive mastermind for me to start my lead generation and to offer some massive value to people that I want to get in relationship with.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
Right.
That's it.
So,
yep.
Because without this, how many other things do you have that are immediate that you can invite somebody to that you've been at and you know what it's like?
Totally.
Not many.
No.
Right?
That's what I mean.
Getting back to the mastermind that we had before about be the best inviter, right?
Yes.
You have to be the best inviter, but it doesn't matter what the rest of the group is doing. It doesn't matter if we have 5 or 10. It matters if you have one on.
Totally. You're right. That's my goal. And you're right. My personal goal is get one on every week. If I can get one on every week, I'm doing what I can do. And then just keep talking about it with you guys of saying like, hey, let's keep on this. So I just think we got to just stay on it until we don't, but I think right now, I mean, I want to keep the momentum going. So
yeah, agreed. All right, my friend, go get your listing and make it work.
Talk soon, brother. Thanks, man.
Good job.
Thanks. Talk soon.